Okay, so SmackDown was actually interesting for once. That is a very good sign. We are getting somewhere. Welcome back to the Wrestling is Bullshit podcast. Very excited to be here. We got two big shows to preview, so stick around. Before we get there, let's go ahead and go over the results. We got two big takeaways since the last time we spoke. We had AEW Grand Slam Mexico, Arena Mexico. Hangman and Brodita were able to defeat the demand for the AEW World Trios Championship in what was a fantastic Arena Mexico show. Always a good time when AEW Dynamite comes out of Arena Mexico. Really feels like an American CMLL show. Good time here. Of course, they love Hangman after he cut the big babyface promo in Spanish before his big crowning moment at All In last year. So they get to see him win the trios titles with Brody King and Bandito. Humongous in Mexico, as you can imagine, both of them. And yeah, this was a great show. That was a great title change. Very exciting stuff coming out of Dynamite last week. And then this past SmackDown saw two titles change hands. We saw the WWE Tag Team Championship change hands. Damian Priest and R-Truth have had these titles for months now, and they've been defending them on SmackDown, which has been solid. Not going to lie, I enjoyed their tag team title reign more than I thought I was going to, truthfully. But now we have the tag titles on MFT, or the MFTs. Talatanga and Tamatanga, right? Makeshift Gorillas of Destiny, I guess, question mark. Just kidding. MFT is a tag team that I want to see succeed. I think they're set up for success right now. Just the two of them, two fantastic wrestlers. I think they can do something with this tag title reign here that really solidifies them on the main roster. I think it's time to go for these guys, and I think they're going to do it. So I'm very excited for MFT to defend those titles soon. And then, of course, we also had. Why am I blanking on this other title change? Let me see. My goodness, I'm horrible. JC Jane winning the Women's United States Championship. How could I forget? I genuinely feel horrible for forgetting because it's JC Jane. And yeah, the women's division may not be where it should be right now in WWE. I think we can all agree. But JC Jane is somebody that can step in and hold this Women's United States Championship. And if she does a good job with this, then maybe there's a brighter future for her in the main roster. I hope so. She deserves it. She was kind of the afterthought in the Mandy Rose, I think it was called Toxic Attraction experiment. And then they made her the main piece of it and named it Fatal Influence. And now that's made its way to the main roster. And I think she has a lot of experience. I think she's ready to be a star. And I think you got a good little faction there on the SmackDown women's division. You got the tag teams you got the tag team holding the women's tag team titles, and then you got JC Jane with the Women's United States Championship. And I think you can begin to make Fatal Influence a cornerstone of the show now that they have these titles. So, yeah, that rounds out the results. It's been a very quiet 2 weeks. The news has been interesting, though. We've had a number one contendership tournament for the World Heavyweight Championship begin. It's a lucha libre tournament primarily. So there's a lot of lucha matches taking place on Raw. I think some on AAA. And this bracket is going to lead to Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship in Monday Night Raw in Mexico City in September. It's a huge and fun way to get us excited for a big Roman match, right? Roman will be defending the title on Raw. That'll be awesome. It will be against the Luchador. It will be against the Luchador that wins this tournament, and it has just begun. So stay tuned. I'll let you do the research on it yourself. I think that there are some viable options, several viable options to win this tournament and face Roman Reigns. It's a great tournament. The matches have been great so far. I'm very excited for this, and I'm very excited for this to continue. Zilla Fatu debuted in NXT. Very interesting there. We were expecting it. It was a win, not if. So it makes sense that Zilla Fatu is now on NXT. He's in the NXT championship scene. And I think if you want NXT to be an entertaining show, you got to put the title on Zilla Fatu. I think you can also go the route of having Tony D'Angelo defeat Fatu the first match, have Zilla Fatu build himself back up, and then beat D'Angelo late this year, early next year. You could do that too. That's totally fine. But I think you have two guys that are ready to carry this main event scene. They just got Mike Santana, now known as Cruz Montana. Give me a break. He'll be good in the main event scene. You'll have Miles Bourne in the main event scene before you know it. And then you put Zilla Fatu in this main event scene for a while and you sharpen him up and get him ready to be a big time wrestler, because really it's him and Fatu, right? Jacob Fatu and Zilla Fatu. Like, those guys are the guys that are going to make a name for themselves. I think Solo Sikoa can add himself to that list now. He's well on his way. He wasn't the guy at first, but, he got his start in WWE essentially, came from the ground up over there. And now he really does feel like the third Uso if all three of those guys are singles guys. Like, I think the success of Jimmy and Jay is what allowed Solo Sikoa to, at some point, when he was ready to drop the big tribal chief gimmick or whatever, he could just be himself, and that's working well for him. So it's really cool to see Zilla Fatu officially over here, and he's going to make NXT really interesting, in my opinion. I think NXT needs him, and he needs NXT, so it'll be cool. And then over at New Japan Pro Wrestling, we had the G1 Climax, and we have ourselves a winner of the 2026 G1 Climax. It is Ryohei Oiwa. He is a homegrown talent. It's great that we are seeing guys like Yota Tsuji and guys like Oiwa have these moments. It was getting to a point in New Japan where it was a world-class talent pool, and now it's kind of going back to world-class level wrestling, as New Japan always provides, absolutely. But it is going back to more Japanese-based, right? Like, we were having a lot of Zack Sabre Jr., Kenny Omega, Jay White, Will Ospreay, and now we are getting guys like Yota Tsuji that are good babyface champions for the company, and Ryohei Oiwa winning the G1 just shows me that New Japan is invested in building stars, and these stars that are coming up in New Japan right now are wanting to rebuild with the company. So this is a huge move for me. I'm excited to see Oiwa versus Yota Tsuji. I presume that's what the match is going to be. I don't see why not. That's a huge and fun new era New Japan match. And if they just keep this going, they will build more stars and they will optimize the situation of the current state of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, I think it's good. I just think they had to learn where their place was in the world of wrestling after AEW started existing, because AEW really did start doing a lot of things that took away the worldwide eyes that was on New Japan. Now it feels like New Japan should build its foundation in Japan. And this is great. Anywho, let's get to the watch list. We have two big shows, and we have one match on one of the weekly shows to note. It is on NXT. NXT keeps finding its way onto my watch list. They keep putting entertaining matches on the weekly TV. So there you go. We will have Lexis King defending the WWE Speed Championship against Lucian Price. Not the biggest, hugest match ever, but Lexis King, gonna be. I like Lexis King. I'll probably tune into this, or at least watch the highlights on YouTube. These next matches are a little bit more exciting, right? I would say, they're not WWE, AEW levels of excitement, but they are just below it here, right? Friday, we have Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor. We have a lot of good matches here on this card. We have Dalton Castle and the Outrunners defending the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team Championship against Lethal Twist. We have Leo Rush in a fight without honor against Action Andretti for the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. That's going to be a banger. We have Deonna Purrazzo defending the Women's Pure Championship against Steph DeLander. We have Lee Moriarty defending the Pure Championship against Nigel McGuinness. We have Athena defending the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship against Hazuki. And then we have Bandito defending the Ring of Honor World Championship against Nick Wayne. That's a Ring of Honor card right there. If you don't like Ring of Honor cards, that you just fell asleep as I was reading that card. But if you're a guy like me and you like Ring of Honor cards, right? Like, I understand Ring of Honor hasn't felt the same since they were purchased by AEW, but AEW does try their best to do the Ring of Honor vibe justice. And that's really what I feel when I watch these Ring of Honor premium live events, or big shows, I should say. There's only 3 of them per year. And then I wouldn't really recommend watching the Ring of Honor weekly television show, to be honest. But if you watch Ring of Honor 3 times a year on those big shows, like, you do have a good time. It's they're spread out enough to where it's like, oh yeah, that exists, and then you watch it and you have a good time. And then Sunday we have TNA Lockdown. This will be a TNA pay-per-view. TNA has been a little heavy on the pay-per-views this year. Not sure if I appreciate the model of business. But nonetheless, we do have another TNA pay-per-view right here, TNA Lockdown, which is a classic, and I think a lot of fans are excited for the Lockdown pay-per-view to return, especially in the way that TNA does it, where every match is a steel cage match. Like, that's fun. That should be a pay-per-view. So this should be a pay-per-view, and this does look exciting. But yeah, I question the direction of TNA. I question TNA's long-term future. I really do. But nonetheless, man, let's get into it. Let's look at this TNA Lockdown card. We have Jason Hotch defending the TNA International Championship against Mustafa Ali, of course, in a steel cage match. Demon X Bunny defending the Knockouts World Tag Team Championship against the Elegance brand, of course, in a steel cage match. We have the Hardys defending the TNA World Tag Team Championship against the Nemeths, of course, in a steel cage match. We have Cedric Alexander defending the X Division Championship against Leon Slater, of course, in a steel cage match. And then we have Zaya Brookside defending the Knockouts World Championship against Elena Black, of course, in a steel cage match. This is fun. I would pay for this pay-per-view. Seems like maybe I'm going too hard on TNA. Maybe TNA's finding their foundation. They're finding people that they would never use in WWE, right? That can hold TNA down, right? Elena Black, definitely one of those people. Zaya Brookside, one of those people. And then those TNA wrestlers have the option to join NXT and then try their hand at the main roster. I think that's a good pipeline that WWE is establishing. And then TNA is kind of the home of the people that just aren't WWE's style, right? Baron Corbin, Nick Nemeth. I know Baron Corbin is United States champion right now, which is crazy, but he definitely falls under that category. You name it. I think there's a future for TNA. I really do. I just think they have to prioritize TNA and not NXT. Like, I think that's hard for them to do because they don't own TNA yet. But I think NXT should be much more developmental, and I think TNA should be that, like, third brand that people tune into. I think that's the direction that we should be going. And honestly, it's been feeling like that. It's been feeling like TNA is a little bit more fun to watch. It's been feeling like TNA is relying on their homegrown guys, the Hardys, Nick Nemeth, right? As homegrown as you can get for TNA in 2026, of course. Take it with a grain of salt. So, yeah, I'll be excited to see how this Lockdown pay-per-view goes. Who knows? Maybe I'll even order it. Before we get you out of here, let's actually go over the top 10 champions in wrestling. Yes, I have changed it. What was once the top 20 champions of wrestling is now the top 10 champions in wrestling. All right. The world of wrestling is changing. The world of wrestling is getting more streamlined. Things used to be a lot different. And now we're in a new era.